Hi, I'm Lisa, and I'm going to be talking a little about the Menendez brothers and their personalities. So there's two of them, of course. The oldest one was Joseph Lyle Menendez. He was born in New York, and he was 21 at the time of the crime. Lyle was known to be a more impulsive and dominant person. He had strong traits of arrogance and self-confidence. He was also seen as the leader between the two brothers, and he wanted to be a businessman like his dad, but he was kicked out of college for plagiarism. But the youngest brother, Eric Galen Menendez, he was born in Glendale, California. He was 18 at the time of the crimes, and he's the polar opposite of his brother. He's known to be more quiet, shy, and more sensible and emotional. He was seen as vulnerable and easy to manipulate, which is something that people think that Lyle used for his benefit. He was also an athlete. He really liked to play tennis, and he was really good at it. People also comment a lot on the fact that Eric was he showed much more remorse and emotion in the court than his brother did. But I also wanted to point out that both of those brothers, they lived in an abusive home for years. They were abused sexually and physically by their parents, and this murder was seen as revenge for them.
The Menendez brothers' murder case took place in Beverly Hills, California, on the night of August 20th, 1989, where Lyle and Eric Menendez, aged 21 and 18 at the time, shot both their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, in the living room of their mansion. The two brothers used shotguns to kill their parents, firing multiple times and causing severe injuries. Initially, the brothers claimed that they had found their parents murdered, but months later they confessed to the killings, saying that they were, in response to years of emotional and sexual abuse caused by their father, and that their mother knew all about it and allowed it to happen. But the prosecutors of the case argued that they were motivated by greed and that they wanted to inherit their parents' wealth. The case became very famous due to its shocking nature and because it was televised, the televised trials in the 1990s, and both brothers were convicted of first-degree murder in 1996 and are now serving life sentences without parole.
The investigation began on August 20th, 1989, when Lyle and Eric Menendez called 911 claiming to have found their parents, Kitty and Jose Menendez, shot to death at their family's Beverly Hills home. At first, police treated the brothers as victims and even considered the possibility of a mob hit due to Jose's high-profile career into the entertainment industry. However, over time, their behavior raised red flags. Despite claiming to be devastated, the brothers had spent a huge amount of money into the months following the murders, purchasing luxury cars, designer clothes, and even taking expensive trips. Investigators began to suspect that the motive may have been financial gain. And a major breakthrough came in March 1990 when Eric confessed the murder to his psychologist, Dr. Jerome Ozio, and the confession was reported to the police by Mr. Ozio's mistress, Judelyn Smith, who had overheard the confession. After legal debates, the confession tapes were ruled admissible in court due to threats Eric allegedly had made against his therapist. Even so, Lyle and Eric were charged with first-degree murders in the first trial that happened in 1993. And in this trial, the defense argued that the murders were the results of years of sexual, emotional, and physical abuse caused by their parents. The trial ended in a hung jury. In the 1995 retrial, the judge limited the amount of abuse-related testimonies, and both brothers were found guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murders and conspiracy to commit murders, and they were sent to jail without a chance of parole.
In 1998, brothers Menendez were sentenced to live in prison without the possibility of parole for the 1989 murder of their parents. Prosecutors argued the motive was financial gain, while the defense claimed the brothers acted in self-defense after years of sexual and psychological abuse by their father. In May of this year, a California judge reduced the sentence to 15 years with the possibility of parole, citing a state law allowing resentencing for crimes committed before the age 26. The decision considered the brothers' rehabilitation and the abuse they suffered. A parallel hearing is scheduled for June 13, 1995. I don't believe they should have been imprisoned because they were victims of long-term sexual and emotional abuse by their father, which created a constant state of fear. They claimed they acted in panic, believing their lives were in danger.
Are going to be given the instruction on what's known as imperfect self-defense. What that means is if someone is truly in fear, actual fear, that they're about to be killed or they're about to, for example, in our case, be raped, that person, if they act to defend themselves, can be convicted of no more than manslaughter.
At the time, there were few protections for abuse victims, and the justice system failed them. The trio was also heavily influenced by media, which may have affected with fairness. Since then, both have shown rehabilitation and not longer pose a threat to society.